You're here today for a course on self-sabotage. I'm not going to teach you how to sabotage. You don't need help or instruction doing that. What we want to do is we want to stop our self-sabotage. We want to make our life work better at a more high-functioning level. My name is Joshua Roy. I'm a seminar leader and life coach. I've been running seminars and life coaching now for the last 10 years. And over that period of time, I've run several hundred of webinars like this one. I continue to run these webinars because there's continues to be people that need a little bit of help and assistance, that they find that the current knowledge and skills that they possess isn't enough to solve their issue or their problem. And so they're looking for solutions. And in looking for those solutions, it brings them to YouTube, it brings them to podcasts, it also brings them to Meetup and to these meetings. So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day, your busy schedule, to do some work on yourself. It really is important for us to continually work on ourselves. We have people in the world who have a growth mindset and those that have a stuck mindset. Now, the ones that have a growth mindset, they're going to be turning up to meetings like this one. And so put yourself in that camp of people who desire growth, desire change, and want to resolve something in your life. Now, here's what I want to do, first of all, straight up, is just ask you a quick question, and we might get some conversation in the chat going. I'd invite you to write in the chat, and the way that you can put a comment in the chat is just down the bottom. You'll see a task bar, and you can go to the chat icon, click on that, and then you can type in a message. So just first of all, where's everyone from? Just where in the world? Just type it in the chat for my understanding and also for everybody else, so we know where everyone's from. So I got Mark from London originally and currently staying in Melbourne. Where's everyone else from? Just type it in the chat where you're from. And the other thing I'd like to know is, why are you here? Why are you here? What are you wanting to resolve, solve, or dissolve in your life? Is there a challenge that you're currently facing that you're looking for a solution, for example, and that's why you're here? That's the reason why people turn up to personal development events, is because they've got something in their life. It's not working. They want to change it. How do we go about doing that? And that's what we're going to discuss today. So I've got Des from China, currently in Auckland. Excellent. Wonderful to have you here. Thank you, Des. And Rhonda from Brisbane. So thanks everyone for showing up. So why are you here? If anybody would like to chat or tell me why they're here, maybe talk to the group, I'd be happy for that to happen as well. You can raise your hand. There's a raise hand icon if you look at that same taskbar, and you can raise your hand. I would like to make these as interactive as possible, and I don't mind hearing from people. So if you would like to chat, let me know. So Mark's saying, I repeat certain bad habits under certain circumstances. Got it, Mark. One of the greatest challenges that we have as human beings, and one of the biggest addiction that we have to break, is the addiction of being ourselves. We're addicted to being us. We live our life the same way. It's Groundhog Day for many people. And quite often, while the circumstances of your life may change, who you are remains relatively the same. And so people, once they get to about the age of 30, their life becomes set in stone. And beyond 30, there's no new change or progress that generally happens for many people. And that's because the brain has trouble being adaptable after that age. It becomes, you could say, set. And that's why they have that saying, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. And in many cases, they're exactly right. You can't teach that old dog new tricks. So if they didn't learn it while they were young, well, how are you going to learn that? Well, what we've learned today about neuroplasticity is that you can change people no matter what age they are. But what they've got to do is get them into a childlike state. You see, if you can get that old dog to be playful, if you can get that old dog having fun, wagging its tail and getting excited, that old dog can learn new tricks. It's just that old dog, that grumpy old dog, doesn't want to. It's happy to just sit there and do nothing. And so it's up to us, to you and I, as we age, to keep ourselves open to the idea of change. All right, so I've got Shaman here from Sydney, Australia. Here to build more of a belief in yourself. Okay. So there's been business failures and you want to build that belief. It's interesting that you say that. You didn't say that you want to get the skills to build the business. It's that you want to get the belief. Now realize this, that we've got many skills and we've also got much knowledge. And you've got to ask yourself, which one's more important? Is it the skills or is it the knowledge? Both are important. Don't get me wrong, both skills and knowledge are important, but which one's most important? You see, success in life is 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. I remember that I was getting ready for a kickboxing fight, and my instructor, Ed Staff was his name, he came over to me and he got my gloves and he rubbed them together and then he smacked them together, my gloves. And he said, "This is your pen, this is your pencil, go write a story." That's one thing that I remember him saying, that I've got a pen and a pencil, I can go write a story. And then I remember him also saying that you win you win the game or you win the fight here. It's won in your head. Most fights are won before the person steps onto the mat. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it's all about psychology. So I love that comment that you're here to get a belief in yourself. That's fantastic. All right. And Som from Auckland, New Zealand. Wonderful. I met Som already. Welcome. Nice to have you back again. All right. So we're going to talk today about how to stop self-sabotage. We're going to get straight into it now. How to stop self-sabotage so that you can make your dreams come true. Isn't it true that we just need to get out of our own way? And if we can get out of our own way, then we can succeed much more in life. It's generally not other people that are slowing us down or holding us back, it's ourselves. And self-sabotage is at the root of that problem. So during today's web class, you're going to learn how to stop sabotage so that you have more joy and happiness. Who's this for? This is for someone who struggles with addiction, time-wasting behavior, procrastination, slips back into old patterns of behavior, is frustrated. And who's it not for? Well, it's not for someone who has no resistance from the past. And if you achieve all your goals, this really isn't for you. If you're someone who, whenever you set a goal, you go and achieve it and it works out, well, this isn't for you, because obviously self-sabotage isn't an issue because you're just all systems go. Now, if you stay to the end, there will be a small gift. And I'd ask everyone to please turn off your mobile phone and pay attention. You're going to be here for an hour with me. So let's make this the most important hour of your life, where you start looking at your own self-sabotage and the ways that you can change and prevent it now and in the future. So why am I qualified to teach this? Well, you can see here that I've actually got 9 coaching certifications that I've achieved over the last 10 years. I've attended more than, I suppose it'd be up around 30 different seminars from seminar leaders around the world. Now, some of you here may have gone to seminars from Tony Robbins, from Brendon Burchard, from other thought leaders, maybe Christopher Howard back in the day, maybe Benjamin J. Harvey from Sydney, maybe Luke Hawkins from Sydney. So there's many different motivators around, you could say, or those that are working in this personal development space. And I'm here as someone who has gone to many different courses. I've brought all this information here to you so that I can present it to you. Yeah, so Rhonda's saying I've done NTT as well. That's awesome. Well done, Rhonda. Yeah, NTT is a wonderful course. It's a wonderful program, and it's one that I've now used, and I teach some of that, but I also teach something new, which is called nervous system reprogramming. And so here's what I want you to do right now is we're going to talk about your future unlocked. Just imagine your life without self-sabotage. Now, if we can't first imagine something, we can't create it. If we can imagine it, we can create it. What the human mind can believe and conceive, it can achieve. It really is that simple. So it's up to you using the faculty of your imagination to create change in your world and in your life. And so what I want you to do first of all now, and if you imagine best with your eyes closed, then close your eyes and just take a few moments to think about what you would want to see happen. If you're able to overcome this challenge that you're facing, if it's an addiction, a bad habit, whatever you're dealing with, just go ahead and think about what your life would be like without it. Now, Mark's saying he's done lots of personal development courses, still self-sabotage. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for sharing. Just go ahead now and imagine what it would be like without it. You no longer self sabotage, it's gone. Just imagine that, because if you can't imagine it, you can't create it. If you can imagine it, you can create it. And that's the beauty of it. So, what would you hear? What would you hear? What would other people say to you? What would you say to yourself if there was no longer any resistance or self sabotage? How would you feel if there was no longer any resistance or self sabotage? Who would be surprised? Who would be happy for you? Who would you like to show up or get back at? Is there somebody who told you weren't good enough, you wouldn't do it, you couldn't do it? Maybe a school teacher or somebody else gave you a hard time. Who would you like to get back at? Who would you like to show up and say, see, I proved you wrong. I showed you. And whose face would you like to rub your success in, if that works for you? It doesn't work for everybody, but if that does work for you and you'd like to get back at somebody, rub their face in your success, then go ahead and think about that now. Now, like I said, it's not going to work for everybody. Some people are positively motivated, yet we know other people are more negatively motivated. And that's not good or bad. And it doesn't mean that the ones positively motivated are going to be more successful. Sometimes negatively motivated people become more successful. I don't know if you're aware of that. It's just the way that we're wired. Every one of us is wired a certain way, and not everyone is positively motivated. So here with those last two questions, I account for other people. Yeah. Yeah, prove to yourself. And Rhonda, that's one way to do it. Just prove it to yourself that you can do it and you are successful. All right, so let's look at stop self-sabotage. And there's areas of life or different contexts of life where we sabotage. Some people do it in their health. Some people do it in their finances. Some people do it in relationships. So if we look at health, you may not be eating the foods you know you should eat. You may be addicted to sugar or fat. Maybe you're addicted to fast food and you know that's going to be detrimental to your health. Maybe you're not someone who exercises. You live a sedentary lifestyle. What about finances? Well, who here buys things that they shouldn't? You know, you find yourself wasting money. You find yourself spending surplus amounts of money. Maybe you're living on credit card debt. Okay, not everyone sabotages finances or their financial life, but some people do. And so we want to allow for them. And what about relationships? Do you sometimes come across harsh with other people? Are you judgmental? Are you unable to listen and learn from others? Do you think you know everything? You know, so sometimes we do it in our relationships, sometimes knowingly and other times unknowingly. And so realize that self-sabotage can be across all contexts of life and even into your spirituality. So first of all, we want to identify, well, which area or with which context of life do I want to work on? And maybe you could just type it in the chat. Is it your health? Is it your finances? Is it your relationship? Is it your career that you're with limiting belief or negative belief about yourself? Where do you self-sabotage? Where does it show up for you? It's a really good idea to identify that. Excellent. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for sharing. So Mark's got relationships and finances. They all need a tweak, says Rhonda. Excellent. And it's a good way to think about it. I always think about that myself, Rhonda, is that there's no such thing as perfection. There's just levels of mastery. And so you want to get to the next level of mastery. Yeah. Thank you for that. All right. So other things you've tried. Who's tried things in the past? And this is where Mark came in and said, listen, I've gone to lots of courses. I've tried things and it didn't work. So who's tried to ignore it? You just hope that it goes away by itself. Who's gone to therapy? You sat across from a therapist. Perhaps you did self-directed therapy. There's other types of therapy, Gestalt therapy and other forms. There's, what is it, hypnotherapy. Perhaps you become a workaholic. You just use distraction and avoidance and you thrust yourself into something else. Well, I won't worry about relationships and I'll work 60 hours a week. I don't know if anybody's ever done that, but that's what some people can do. So we use avoidance to try to solve problems, but guess what? Quite often it does not work. Yeah, so Mark's on Landmark. Mark, I've been to Landmark also. Landmark Forum was wonderful. I did the advanced course and the communication course through Landmark Forum. Loved them. Thought they were great courses, so much to learn. So what I want to share with you today is a new opportunity, because here's what I came to understand is that knowledge is not about information. It's about application. Knowledge is the application of information. So in my mind, there are four concepts. The first one is very simple. The first concept is information. That's data. Now, there's information everywhere. On the World Wide Web, you can go to Wikipedia, you can learn so much about many different topics. But what they've said is if you went just to Wikipedia and you read everything that you could find on Wikipedia, you wanted to fill your head with all that knowledge and information, it would take 17 lifetimes to get all that information into you. 17, and that's if you didn't eat or sleep. You just constantly absorbed information. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have 17 lifetimes. I don't have that much time. None of us do. Okay, so what we need to find is the right information. There's so much information out there, and we can use, you could say, a shotgun approach. As we know, when shotgun pellets go out, they spread. There are little tiny pellets that spread out. And the shotgun approach would be like, well, let's just get a little bit of everything. But what I'd like to introduce you to now is a way to get laser-like focus and to actually create permanent, long-lasting change. Who's up for that? Who's up for thinking, I want to find, if there's a silver bullet, give me that silver bullet. And so that's what I want to share with you now, is that what I've got here is a new opportunity, and it's called nervous system reprogramming. It's NSR. Because we can intellectualize till the end of days. We can do everything from a cognitive level, but that's not going to change your life. Who would agree with me? Is cognitive change going to change everything? Is getting more data into your head, is that going to make the difference? You see, many of you know how to eat healthy. You know how to have a good relationship. You even know how to work on building your wealth. We all know that. Why don't you do it? Why don't you do what you know? Well, that's where we separate information from knowledge. And so those terms I was talking about, here's what they are: information, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. They're the four concepts. I'm going to go into those, but that's the idea, is that we want not information, we want the other three. We want knowledge that we can turn into understanding, and we want to eventually turn that into wisdom. Now, and just briefly, what are those terms and what do they mean? Well, knowledge is the application of information. Basically, knowledge is when you're doing it. If you don't do it, you don't know it. You might know that sugar's bad for you, but if you keep consuming sugar, then you don't know it. You have intellectual understanding of a concept, but you don't know it. You don't know it until you live it. You don't know it until it moves from cognitive to emotional to nervous system level. Once it's in the nervous system, now you know it because you live it, you do it. Does that make sense? So there's three levels of learning: cognitive, emotion, and nervous system learning. And so nervous system reprogram that I do is all about getting that information, translating it into knowledge. Then we can turn that into understanding. For example, if you get an understanding in the area of health, you can then take those same principles and move it to another context of your life. For example, if your health is working, next we can get your relationships working. Now, how do we do that? It's the same principles. It's a different context. Same principle, different context. We port them across, then we can get it working in that area. For example, I'll give you a quick example of this, a computer analogy. If you had a program that worked with, let's say, numbers and statistics, all right, you got a program. And so what you do is you punch in all of the income you've earned through the year, and it puts it out on a spreadsheet and does it all for you. Works out how much tax you paid, everything. Okay, that's wonderful. Now, what if you're running a business? Well, you're running a business. Now you've got the same lot of numbers there, same lot of information data. It's just different. One's your personal income. Now we're looking at a business income. You feed it through the same mechanism or the same processing program application, and you get the same result. Now, I know that both are dealing with finances, but what you can do is the same thing. You can take something that's working in health and then use that same principle to then get your relationships working. It could be principles such as focus, work, commitment. These principles, they're portable. They go with you not only from one context of life to another, but according to your religious and spiritual beliefs, they may even move with you to the next life. So think about this, depending on what your spiritual beliefs are. So the idea with nervous system reprogramming is we want to get the programming happening below the level of conscious thought. Who's tried using willpower before? Who's made a decision and used their willpower and failed? Anyone done that? You've used willpower and you've thought, I'm just going to will myself through it. And you've thought, I'm just going to think, I'm going to grow rich, like Napoleon Hill says. I'm going to use willpower to get there. And then you find yourself having no power. Where willpower fails, and this is interesting, willpower is directly associated with the amount of blood glucose that's contained in your prefrontal cortex. I don't know if you're aware of that, but your blood glucose has everything to do with willpower. And so in negotiations, like family negotiations, guess when decisions are made? It's either right before lunch or right before dinner. That's when decisions are made. Why? Because people's willpower is at its lowest level before eating, before consuming some food. Your food turns, or your body turns whatever fuel you take in into sugar. That's actually what your stomach and intestines are designed to do, is turn whatever fuel you put in into sugar. Now, a lot of people think they need excess sugar. You don't. You don't. Your body can take vegetables and turn it into sugar. It turns it into glucose and sends it in the body for energy. If you take excess sugar, now your body's going to turn that into fat. That's all. It doesn't need so much. It really doesn't. There's enough in vegetables. There's enough in salad. There's enough in these things. You don't even need the what would you say, this the salad dressing to get the sugar that you need. You can get enough sugar from eating vegetables, salad, and the healthy foods that you know you should eat. But a lot of people go, but it tastes so good. And we're tempted to eat those other things. All right, so you get the idea. So willpower is directly connected with blood glucose levels. And when you've just eaten, you're going to have high willpower. When you're getting hungry, tired, your willpower will be lower. And that's when your addictive behaviors come back in. That's where you find yourself slipping into attitudes and behaviors that you don't want. Just drop yes in the comments if that makes sense. Yeah, willpower, it works for the short term, but it's not going to get you through. And that's why we need the nervous system to be reprogrammed. So willpower is not enough. It's the nervous system that we're interested in. If we can get your nervous system to change, then you've made a decision that will stick. All right, very good. So that's the new technology, is nervous system. So I was in a 9-to-5 job. Many of you I know are in 9-to-5 jobs. Now, this was in some ways meeting my financial needs, but it wasn't meeting the needs for my life. I felt that I could do better or influence or impact more people if I was out of the 9-to-5 job working for myself. Anybody had thoughts like that? Wanted to change career paths, work for yourself, become a coach, mentor, trainer, teacher? Okay, that was me. So here I was in my job. I'm stressed, I'm overworked, I'm underpaid, and I'm feeling the tension. I don't know where you carry tension, but for me, it's across my neck, shoulders, and that area of my body, and I would feel the tension. Now, it just so happened that I had different techniques and tools that I'd learned through life coaching, like meditation, cold water exercises, and breathing exercises. Anyone done those? Just drop yes if you've done those. Who's done breathing? Breathing exercises. The second one, put B for breathing if you've done breathing. Who's done meditation? Type N for meditation. And who's done the third one, which is cold water exposure? Have you done that one? The cold water. Put C for cold water if you've done that. All right. Yeah, so you've done all of those. All right. So here I was, and I'm in a high stress job. And just to give you context for it, the person who was in that job before me had a nervous breakdown. The person who was in that job after me had a nervous breakdown. And I was there for about 3 years consistently. Now, how did I manage not to have a nervous breakdown? I believe it was this. It was the meditation. It was the cold water exposure. It was breathing exercise. It was taking my body back into that homeostasis state. I was resetting my nervous system every chance that I could, every morning. And I did it consistently. And I tell you what, it made such a difference. In fact, my boss said to me, there's 7 teams in the workplace. And he said to me, Josh, you've got the happiest team in the building. Now that was an incredible compliment, but it was also a reflection of the work that I was doing. And I discovered that you don't need to have a nervous breakdown. I discovered there's a way forward to maintain that, you could say, that homeostasis state of mind and emotion. You're able to get back there. You're able to reset the nervous system. And so I started teaching people about a morning routine and started coaching. And now today I coach people on how to deal with stress, even high levels of stress that could, turn somebody otherwise into a basket case. We don't want to do that. We don't want to have any mental illnesses. And ultimately, if somebody was desiring to, I can also coach and mentor them away from a high stress job into working for themselves, because that is very possible in the world today. There's so much opportunity in the world with the internet, with your ability to connect with people overseas. I mean, here today, we've got people from the US, people from Australia, New Zealand is here, and other places. So it's wonderful what technology has done for us. All right, so here was me, stressed, overworked, underpaid. I'm in this situation. So I was working overtime, weekends, holidays, and in a job such as I'm describing, you sell time for money. So it's a trade. It's a trade-off. And what you find is the quality of your life can actually be reduced, especially if you take on extra shifts, overtime. You're working on your days off. And I know people who do that consistently. They're always at work. They never get a break from the building or from their workplace. Now, I wanted to be happy, but I at least wanted to be okay. And time heals, doesn't it? If you're there long enough, eventually you get used to it and everything will be fine. Well, that didn't seem to be happening. There was a lot of tension. I carried that tension. And the tension wasn't the work itself, it was actually dealing with management and dealing with bosses more than it was the actual work in the workplace. And that was difficult. And the other thing that we can do in life is we can waste our time. So here we've got high stress work environment. Then we've got time wasting activities. And really, when we start considering this, well, are you really working to improve your relationship? Are you working to improve your life and lifestyle? Or are you just so drained, so worn out that you just have to plop into a chair and all you want to do is play games, or all you want to do is escape? We call this escapism. Is just getting out of there. You just get out of your head and you're on the lounge and you're almost giving up. You're in this defeatist mindset. All right, so who can relate to all of that? Just drop yes if you can relate. If you can relate to time-wasting behavior, if you can relate to stress or high-stress work environment, if you can relate to any of these things. Because I'm just giving you a story, and this is my life. Is I was dealing with that. I was working for the Queensland Police Service. I was a police officer. And I worked in the Queensland Police Service for over 20 years. And I'm still a police officer. I still have a foot in there, and I do that part-time. I'm now, you could say, full-time coach, part-time police officer. So I still do part-time. I've still got a foot in the door. I enjoy it. There are parts of it that I like, but I didn't want to do it full-time, because doing it full-time was doing my head in. The amount of stress that I was dealing with, it was very difficult. And I know some of you are in a situation where you'd like to look at an alternative. You'd like to look at a different lifestyle. Well, keep listening, because there's ways that you can do this. All right, so that was the self-sabotage. So what I was doing was attending seminars. And for me, everything changed. And we've got a few people here that are lifelong learners, I can tell. Rhonda's been to Landmark, been to NTT, other course and training. So I decided that I would be a lifelong learner. I went to a Tony Robbins event. Anyone been to Tony Robbins or seen him? Yeah. So I went to a Tony Robbins event, and I remember Tony Robbins saying that you should go to 3 seminars a year. And I made a mental note of that, 3 seminars a year. And so I made it a consistent rule of mine from 2017 till today that I go to 3 full multi-day seminars every year. And I'll tell you what, that was a big change for me. It really got me focused in on learning, education, and growth mindset. Now, I didn't just go with Tony Robbins. I chose other courses, other programs, because I like variety. I don't know if you're like me, but I like variety. I don't just follow one person. It's nice to follow one person for a period of time, but then afterwards it can become, I don't know, it can become a bit monotonous. So it's nice to have a bit of variety. But it's good to follow somebody initially and to say, you know what, I'm going to find everything I can about these ideas so that I can get them deeply embedded, not just into my mind, but into my heart. Yeah. Rhonda says I do 3 a week. Yeah, I'm talking about multi-day seminars. So there's no way you could do 3 of those a week. Some of them were 6-day long. So one that I did was Date with Destiny. It was 6 days and nights. It was insane. And I've done that 3 times. So that's Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins. Fantastic though. And I use a lot of what I learned there in my coaching today. So it really has made me, I believe, a more rounded coach. And not only have I done NTT with Luke Hawkins, but I've also done work with Authentic Education with Ben Harvey, and I've completed all his course and trainings. And so, it's just been incredible. It's an incredible journey and a journey of change. All right, so I attended seminars. It changed everything for me. And why growth and contribution are the most important basic human needs? What I discovered was that by attending regular seminars, I was growing. Now, my desire to be a coach enabled me to help others, and that led to fulfillment. What I discovered was and this is Tony Robbins talks about 6 human needs: the need for certainty, the need for variety, the need for love and connection, the need for significance, the need for growth, the need for contribution. They're the 6. Now, these last 2, the first 4 are the needs of the personality. The last 2 are the needs of the spirit. And the needs of the spirit are growth and contribution. And when I started discovering that, I thought to myself, if I'm going to find fulfillment in life, if I'm truly going to be happy, then I could stay in my job and just do development work, but that's only the growth part. What I really wanted to do was contribute beyond myself. I wanted to give back. And not just financially, not just giving to charity or looking after that, but actually give of my time and energy and talents to helping people to change. And that's why I decided that I would go into this world of coaching. I decided that there was people out there who were still negative, that probably needed some help to be more positive. And so I started working in this field of coaching. And, over the last several years, I've had many, many clients, hundreds of clients who have come through my courses, coaching programs, and also the one-on-one sessions that I do, just to help them to create change. And the beautiful thing about it is the benefit for them was great, was wonderful. But the benefit for me, off the charts. If you want to be fulfilled, you grow yourself, expand who you are, go to courses, seminars, trainings, learn. But the second way to be fulfilled is to contribute, look after somebody, help others, give advice, the really good advice that's going to help them, not unsolicited advice, not advice that's not sought for, but those that want it, give it to them and give it to them freely. And the more you contribute beyond yourself, and it's not just about dollars and cents, but it's about giving the special tools and skills and knowledge that you have and imparting it. So I think of what I do on YouTube and other places, that's community service. What I'm doing today, this is a lot of this is community service. It's me helping people to get a growth mindset and to move away from being in their stuck state. So think about that. It's contributing beyond yourself, just giving, regardless of if there's monetary reward for you at the end. It's just about having that attitude, I live to give. Sound good? So that's what leads to fulfillment, growth and contribution. And that's what I discovered. And so I've gone to many courses, relationship seminars, time management seminars, health seminars, wealth seminars, and today I teach seminars on all of these topics also. So life produced much better results. In 2015, 2020, I attended 20 seminars, spent 2 hours every day doing morning routine. And I tell you what, it changed everything. Because I read a book from Dr. Joe Dispenza. And the book was titled Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And I realized that the reason that I hadn't changed permanently was that I hadn't broken the addiction or the habit of being me. And in order to do that, Joe Dispenza talks about a 2-hour long meditation. Now, I couldn't do 2 hours meditation. It's too long for me. However, I started doing about 15-minute meditations and was doing it consistently every day, followed by exercise, incantations, and a whole bunch of other things. So what I discovered for myself was that when you do the work to break the habit of being yourself, you change. You can actually transform. And transform, the word transform means going beyond form. So all of this takes place, first of all, in your imagination. When you achieve anything, you do it twice. First, in your imagination, second, in reality. And so the idea is you change up here first. It's all a psychological change to begin with. And then it becomes a physical change in the real world. And so I discovered this. It was wonderful. It changed my life. Like I said, I committed to go to 2 or 3 seminars every year, and I've been doing that ever since. Now, growth unlocked joy, which led to happiness. And like today, I do believe I'm living just a fantastic life. If you think about the amount of shifts that I do in my policing role, I've cut right back down to 5 shifts every month. So imagine having to go to work 5 days a month. Who'd like that sort of lifestyle? Does it sound good? You have to get that's my job or career. And the rest of the time I'm doing what I love. And now because I'm getting so little of that, I'm loving that as well. I'm loving everything in my life. So if you want to change, then it all starts here. It starts in your mind and your mindset. Then the next step is to create it in reality. Now, I don't know what your goal is for yourself. I don't know what you want to do career-wise or in your life. What you do want is happiness. I know that because that's what my clients tell me. I've worked with many clients and they say, I just want to be happy. We work through all the other stuff. I want to be in a relationship. I want more money. I want this or that. And they say, why do you want that? And it always inevitably comes back to that one term, happiness, because that's what people really want. You want to be happy. You want to live a happy life. And that's what we want to create for you today. Okay, so unlock your incredible self, unleash that on the world. This was a brainchild that I had. I remember I was sitting on a plane coming back from Sydney. I wrote out a whole seminar about unlocking yourself and being happy. So I went through 10 years of learning all of these things, going to seminar after seminar, going to courses. I've spent about $85,000 and I discovered the hard way how to solve this self-sabotage issue. And I'm going to give it to you today in a very simple formula, so you're going to get it straight away. How's that sound? All right, so there's 3 keys. There's the only proven way to break the habit of being yourself. I'm going to talk about that. The only proven way. There's only one. You can try many different things, but there's only one proven, tried, tested way of doing it. There's 6 reasons why you self-sabotage. You may not realize what they are. Today I'm going to spell them out for you so you can understand and identify why you do it. You must identify it. If you don't, there's no change. And the last is how to ensure that you no longer sabotage your results by applying a simple formula. So I'm going to talk about a formula that you can apply to your life to deal with self-sabotage as or even before it comes up. How's that sound? Sound good? Who's keen for that? Who wants to get those keys? All right, let's talk about this. So key 1, this is unlocking your incredible self. The only proven way to break the habit of being yourself. There's a saying out there that says, you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. You can't teach the old dog new tricks. You say, well, how do we change? Well, I got sad news for you. After the age of 30, your brain is set in stone. At least this is what science used to tell us. It's set in stone and there's no change. That's it. You're stuck. You're stuck with whoever you are up until that time, because the imprint period of your youth between the ages of 0 to 7, that's where you formed your personality. That's where you form much of everything that you do today. Your basic fundamental personality was formed. So how do you change that? Well, it's difficult. But here's what we've discovered today, is that your brain is changeable. It's malleable and changeable if you can get yourself into a childlike state. Now, if anyone's been to a Tony Robbins event, you jump around on chairs and you do silly things and you're jumping and you're all excited, you might be thinking, why are we doing this? It's a bit crazy. It's a bit strange. But let me explain. When you're excited, that's a childlike state. When you're feeling joy, happiness, these are childlike states. What we want is childlike emotional states. And the more positive we have them, excitement probably being the most positive and the most life altering, your brain becomes malleable and changeable. If you've heard of neuroplasticity, that simply means that your brain can change shape. And this can happen at any age so long as you're in a childlike state. Does that make sense? Like if you're old and you're old here, there's no change. Does that make sense? But if you're old physically, but you're young mentally, you keep your mind sharp and you have and use the faculty of your imagination regularly, and you practice keeping yourself thinking young, thinking creatively. Creativity is a childlike state. Joyfully, joy is a childlike state. Excited about something. If you've got things that excite you, then that's wonderful. That's going to create change. There's a movie that's called Grumpy Old Men. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that, but it's about a couple of men and they're just grumpy. They're miserable. Well, there's no change. If you're like that and you're walking, there's nothing excites you, there's no change. If you wake up on Christmas morning and you go, another Christmas, nothing's going to change. But if you can get into a childlike state and imagine what it's like being 6 and getting the bike that you wanted all year. You're hoping you're going to get a bike and there's a bike under the tree and you're excited and you're jumping up. If you can do that, no matter what age, you can create change. Is that good to know? Just drop yes in the comments if that's good to know. You can create it. Your brain's not saying you can teach the old dog a new trick, but you've got to turn the old dog into a younger dog. You've got to get the old dog excited. You've got to get the old dog feeling joy. You've got to uplift the old dog somehow. You've got to get them out of their head and into the world. And that's what we want to do. Okay, good one. Yeah, what if you don't get excited? Well, you got to practice it, Mark. You got to practice getting excited. So I do excitement exercise. I just do an excitement exercise, and it gets you excited. So you can incorporate an excitement exercise. Rhonda says she dance. You can dance to music. So, but you've got to find a practice that can help you get excited. Okay, so I do an excitement exercise, and I developed that after going to a Tony Robbins event because I realized that when I came away from that event, like all of my addictions, all my bad habits, they were gone. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? It was an incredible change because my nervous system changed. Okay, and then I had enough leverage to maintain the change. It was a fascinating how it worked. 500 miles. I could walk 500 miles at the one. If I would walk five, yeah, I got it. Got it. What do you do when they say grow up? So, when people say grow up, be respectful, nod, and in your head say, no, thank you. No, thank you. I'm going to stay that little child in my head. So, and this is where we've got to fit into society. But what we've got is we've got these social norms that says that a person walks like this, talks like this, they act like this. We've got these certain norms that we have in society, and we discredit antisocial behavior. If somebody's antisocial, the person can be ostracized. When it comes to the legal system, antisocial behavior, people get locked up for extremely, when that antisocial behavior is criminal behavior, then a person gets locked up. So antisocial behavior is frowned upon. And so I wouldn't get somebody to do I wouldn't do my excitement exercise while I'm standing in line at the teller, but I'll do it at home. I'll do it in the bathroom. I'll do it away from other people. I don't do it out in public. And so what you've got to really realize is that whilst you need to keep face in society, you can, in your own head, in your own mind, and also in your own body, create excitement. You can create change within yourself. So it's incredible how it works. All right, but let's keep moving. All right, so here's how you break the habit of being yourself. So what we've got is there's 5 steps to the addiction recovery process. And I just wanted to talk about addiction recovery Because think about yourself as being addicted to you, whatever attitude, whatever moods you're currently facing in your life. You're an addict. You're addicted to being yourself. You wake up in the morning and you're you. You have breakfast, you go to work or whatever you have patterns of behavior, actions and reactions that are completely you. And so in addiction recovery, the first step is pre-contemplation. The second step is contemplating. We start thinking about the change and what difference it would make. Third is the preparation, then is the action, and then finally relapse prevention. These are the 5 steps to the addiction recovery process. Now, applying that to you as an individual, you need to start thinking about the person you want to be. We call this a future belonging. Thinking about and practicing the feelings that you want to feel in the here and now. That's going to take you into the contemplation stage. You imagine what it would be like. Everything we do twice. First in your imagination, second in reality. So we contemplate it. Then we prepare for it. And then we take the action. Now, a lot of the times when somebody's suffering with an addictive behavior or an addictive substance that they've taken into their life and they can't stop it, and addiction has been defined as not being able to get enough of that which you don't want. You know, on a psychological level, nobody wants to be an addict. Nobody does. Nobody says, I love this. Nobody drinks alcohol thinking, I love this process of getting blind drunk. I love it. You know, nobody takes that drug saying, I love this. I love this high that I'm going to get and the way that it makes me feel in my future and my life. I love it. No one's going to say that. Everybody knows at an intellectual level that it's bad for you, that they're destroying themselves. They all know it intellectually. Okay, but what they do is they lie to themselves. We deceive ourselves. We lie. And so addiction is not being able to get enough of that which you really don't want. You don't want it. And so when you break the habit of being yourself, you've got to get enough leverage on yourself to change it. All right, so if you have to sign off for some reason and you'd like to connect or you'd like me to send you the rest of this webinar, send me your phone number in a private message and we can connect. So thank you, Christina, for reaching out. I appreciate it. All right, so we need enough leverage to change. So what we've got is, these are the 5 steps. Now, a lot of the reason why addiction recovery doesn't work is people go to the action step. They say, oh, I'll just stop doing it. Well, you didn't do the work. You didn't do the contemplation. You didn't do the preparation. You didn't put sufficient effort, time, and energy into the setup work. You know, it's like when you're creating an event at a venue. Events don't just happen. You know, if you're turning up to the event, it just happens. But if you're part of the preparation phase and you're the one who's planning it, you've got to plan logistics. You've got to plan how many people are coming. You've got to get RSVPs. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of preliminary work before the event takes place in order to make an event successful. Would you agree with that? There's a lot of work, a lot of preparation. Now, in life, we think we can just go and take the action and it's going to all change. And so a lot of people say, well, I'm just going to start meditating. You go straight to the action phase. Or I'm just going to start doing the cold plunge. Or I'm just going to start doing the breathing exercises. And it's great, you start, but then the wheels fall off. You're not consistent. Why? Because you didn't get enough leverage. And if you get enough leverage, you can keep something going for 12 months, for 5 years, for longer. If you get enough leverage and if you get your nervous system in a place where it takes it on and it says yes, and you're feeling that at every level of your mind, heart, body, spirit, and soul, that's where you can make that change that's long lasting. Just drop yes if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Long lasting change is nervous system change. It doesn't matter what you intellectualize. It doesn't matter what's going on in your head. It's got to be in the body. And so once you've done the work, contemplation, preparation, now you're ready for the action. And then we move into relapse prevention, which is about keeping that leverage, making sure that you reliever yourself anytime you need to. Okay? Makes sense? So what do? Morning routine. So one thing that I teach in my program is the most important thing that you can do to rewire yourself, to break the habit of being yourself, is have a consistent morning routine, because I know that consistent commitment creates character. What you want to do is create a new character, a new personality. And here's the interesting thing about personality. Many of us run emotions each day, some more positive than others. Now, if you're running an emotion, whatever it is, your emotion turns into a mood. Somebody there might have, Jason's got in a bad mood, whereas Sally over here, she's in a happy mood. Okay, different emotions led to different moods. Okay, an emotion repeated over time leads to a mood. Now, a mood over time leads to what? Leads to a temperament. A temperament leads to a disposition, and a disposition leads to a personality or a new personal reality. So just realize that that's the pathway. I call that the emotion pathway. All right, so what we've got here is crabs in a bucket. We've got a woman. There was a woman. I'm walking through Brisbane City. I smelt something. It was disgusting. I looked over and there was a woman who'd urinated down the front of her pants. This woman was a bank manager. She was so focused on her banking career that she neglected her family. One day she came home. Her husband said, "It's over." He took the children. They left her. She stayed at the house. They moved to different accommodation. The marriage was over. In order to cope, this woman started drinking, and she started drinking heavily. And it ruined her life. It absolutely ruined her life. She was no longer working. She had jewelry on her. She was still wealthy, had lots of money in the bank. Her quality of life was diminished, and she drank herself to death. She actually passed away several years ago and was an alcoholic till the day she died. Now, it's a horrible story, but it's real. It's absolutely real for someone who sabotaged their life. You see, she neglected her family, not realizing how important they were to her. And when she lost them, she lost everything. Now, you can see the second picture there is crabs in a bucket. So there was a father and son, they're out fishing and they weren't catching anything. So the son went and started digging up crabs and he started filling a bucket up. Now, the father noticed this, came over and looked into the bucket and he saw something interesting. He saw that these crabs were climbing up the wall of the bucket, but every time they got up near the top of the bucket, another crab would reach up, grab that first crab with their pincers and pull it back down. And so he realized that none of these crabs were escaping because they weren't working cooperatively, they were in competition. And then he thought to himself, how often does that happen in my life? How often have other people pulled me down or stopped me believing in myself? And then he started thinking this. He said, well, how often have I done it to myself? Negative self-talk. How often have I stopped myself achieving? And he could relate to these crabs in the bucket. And then you can see there, the third one is there's a gut there. Now, in my early years, exercise was my go-to when it came to health. If I wanted to be more healthy, I just exercised more. As I got older, as I reached my 30s and 40s, I realized that didn't cut it anymore. That it wasn't just about, I couldn't just look down, see a gut, and then go for a big run, and start running each day and solve that problem. I realized I needed to start looking at my diet. And also, more than that, I started to needed to develop a new mindset around health and energy. And so that was an area in my life where I self-sabotaged in the past and sometimes do still in the future. So health is one that we need to really consider and look at. All right, so self-sabotaging behaviors, alcohol, substance addiction, other addictive, time-wasting behaviors, distractions, procrastination, cutting yourself, self-harm, shutting down emotionally, putting up walls, rejecting others. We all self-sabotage. And so the goal today is looking at a formula as to why you do it and then a solution for it. All right, and what we need to do is, and this is what I was talking about leverage before, it's a pain and pleasure. So the only way to really resolve this is nervous system reprogramming and making sure you've got enough leverage by using the dual force of pain and pleasure. So in this world, there are losers and there are those that win. So what characterizes a loser? And just have a think about this for your own life. Those who refuse to learn. Well, that's not you, you're here learning. Those who are disempowered. Those who give up. Those who blame others. Now, I know that you don't give up. Many of you have been to other seminars, other courses, other classes, and you're still here. You're persisting. Why? You don't give up. That's one of the key elements of being a winner. is a persistence, a level of, you know what, I'm going to keep going to courses till I find the one that changes everything, until I find that course that shifts and changes my nervous system. All right, those who give up, those who blame others, those who don't know who they are, and those who don't know their purpose. So what this is these are all what characterizes losers. Let's have a look at what characterizes those who win. And it's really the opposite, isn't it? So it's every failure is a learning experience. So you either win or you learn. I love that. You know, if something happens, I either won, I succeeded, or I learned something. And so you never lose. You never fail if you learn something. If you fail to learn, that's the only real failure that there is. They choose empowerment. They look for a silver lining. They don't quit. They take full responsibility. They have a strong identity, and they live with purpose. All right, so let's have a look at, well, the Ultimate Success series is what I share, and in that series, I do nervous system reprogramming around health, emotional mastery, life skills like making money, memory, communication, and also relationships, attracting the right person into your life and having a relationship filled with love and passion. So I work on not only the information, but also the nervous system. So through the courses that you do with me, my goal is to get it integrated into your body and into your nervous system. Once that happens, now you find yourself changing at every level: mind, heart, body, spirit, and soul. So the health series, emotional mastery series, emotional mastery, life skills. So what we've got here is the relationship series also. Now, the other thing that I do with my groups and classes is I run weekly or bi-weekly coaching sessions. And then people come in, they ask questions, and I work with that person to solve their problem. Sometimes I do a process with them. Other times I just give an answer for the benefit of themselves and also the group. And so we have questions ranging from health, relationships, finances, business questions, anything at all. As a life and results coach, I work on a bit of everything. So I love this idea of teaching seminars on all the areas and aspects of life because I want to be well-rounded. And initially, it was for myself. I wanted good health. I wanted a happy relationship. I wanted to solve my problems. I wanted to be a good communicator, a good speaker, able to touch, move, and inspire others. So I wanted all these things. And so I designed courses around them. And who learns more? Just type it in. Does the teacher or the student learn more? Who learns more? Who do you think? Any ideas? So I discovered that when I started teaching these courses, far out, my learning went to the next level. I'm attending courses as a student, and I still do that. I still do that to this day. I'm going to other courses because I want to learn from as many people as I can. There are great minds out there, great influences in the world. It's wonderful to learn from. So I'm learning from them, and I'm also teaching because teaching helps me. And the teacher does learn more than the student. So it's wonderful how that works. And so I love these courses. I've been doing group coaching sessions now for about 4 years. And so every second week, we come together. The coaching clients will come in, we'll ask and answer questions together and help with or make life-altering decisions, choices, and changes. Now, when it comes to nervous system reprogramming, I run these NLP classes every month. And nervous system reprogramming is part of this. So what people do is they come into this class and every month we'll have a different topic. It could be the power of stories. I've done that session twice. It could be the NLP swish pattern. If you've heard of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, there's a swish pattern. There's a neurological bridge, which I did just a couple of weeks ago. There's other processes called parts integration. And what I do in these sessions is I not only use the technique and demonstrate it, I teach you how to use it. I give you a script. You practice with another person. They come in as well. And what you're doing here is you're developing your coaching ability. If you want to be a coach, a consultant, a trainer, these sessions are valuable and they're wonderful because it gives you hands-on experience and training. Now, I do some of that in the webinars as well. I do multi-day webinars and I do some of that as well in those and also in those NLP training sessions, and they're held every month. So The second thing we want to look at is the 6 reasons why you self-sabotage. Why do you do it? Let's have a look. Let's go through these nice and quickly because you want to identify this. Is it a loss of self-worth? Have I gone through an experience? Did I get rejected? Have I been betrayed? And as a result of that, has my self-worth plummeted? Do I not feel very good about who I am? Well, if it's a loss of self-worth, you may self-sabotage just for that reason, just because you don't have good feelings or high feelings of self-esteem. Now, maybe that one, or maybe a different reason. Maybe there's a feeling of being out of control, that when you go into a new challenge, well, you're in uncharted territory. It's unfamiliar to you. And because it's unfamiliar and it's all new, fear can take over. And fear can say, no, self-sabotage, go back to what you know. Go back to the safety of your locus of control. And so realize that's another reason you self-sabotage. The third reason is a scapegoat. Now, nobody wants to blame themselves. You don't want to blame yourself for your problems, but what you will do is you'll blame your sabotage behavior. You'll say, well, I can't help it. It's just my sabotage behavior. Yeah, for some reason, I just act this way. I say those things that I shouldn't. I act or perform in that way, and I don't know why I do it. And it's just who I am, and I can't change it, and it just is what it is. And so a lot of people will blame their sabotage behavior and say, it's not my fault, it's my sabotage. And they'll use that as a scapegoat. Next, people will desire to end boredom in their life. If there's not a lot of drama in your life and you're a person who thrives on drama, some people do, not everyone relates to this, but some people thrive on drama, what they can actually do is create disharmony or discord for the purpose of stirring things up and creating some drama because some people need it. I don't know why they need it, but they need it. And so the next reason is to end boredom. People throw a spanner in the works. No more boredom. Now we've got to fight. Now we've got enough drama to keep me stimulated. Next reason, and this one's an interesting one. R is revert to familiar. You can notice there's an acronym that I've come up with called losers. I created this. The R is revert to familiar. There's only one thing stronger than the need for survival, and that is the need for familiarity. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. A lot of people talk about survival instincts. Okay, familiarity is even stronger than that. So the need for familiarity is even stronger than the need for survival. So just let that play through your mind. And the last one is smoke and mirrors. That's the good old imposter syndrome, where you feel like the imposter. You're undeserving of this promotion or this situation that you're currently in. So that's the loser's formula. And if you're self-sabotaging, it will be one or more of those. So whatever it is, actually type it in. If it's an L, type in L. If it's O, type in O. If it's S, E, R, S, type in one of those letters, the one that you most identify with. I know there could be 2 or 3, but what is the one you most identify with? So smoke and mirrors, so it's the imposter syndrome for Mark. Thanks for that, Mark. I appreciate that. Anyone else? What is it for you? Because if you can identify why you do it, then you can change it. If you can't identify it, then it's very difficult to change. You need to know, well, why do I do it? Okay, I've got it. You identify it clearly, why you do it. Now we can change it. So now that you've got this N and O, uh, out of control, feeling of out of control, is that the one? So nice. Okay, thank you for that. All right, appreciate that. That's a less common one, the out of control one. Most people don't have that one, but it's interesting. But I'm glad you let me know. So they're all relevant. I've had people now give me every single letter on that list, which is fantastic. All right, so what we've got is let's look at the solution. And here's where we're going to spend a little bit of time on the solution. The solution is the win formula. The first part of winning is to build your self-worth. Now, how do you build your self-worth? How do you do it? You make and keep commitments to yourself. That's the first thing. First thing you must do if you and I are going to build our self-worth is to make and keep a commitment to yourself. You see, your commitment to yourself should be to discover who you really are, unlock your incredible self, and unleash that on the world. So self comes first. You've got to decide what time you're going to wake up. Decide that you're going to do some reading in the morning. Decide that you're going to focus on your mind and your mindset. Decide that you're going to fill your mind with good content. Decide that you're going to sign up for a seminar or a course. Decide what you're going to do. So all of us have this opportunity. And really, it comes back to yourself. If you can make a commitment and say, right, I'm going to do this course, I'm going to do this program, I'm going to turn up to it. And then you do it, your self-worth goes up. It increases. When you let yourself down, it decreases. So if you say you're going to do something, then you don't do it, then unfortunately your self-worth, you start doubting yourself. You don't believe in yourself. You don't trust yourself. Who's in a situation where they don't trust themselves? Just drop yes. Yeah. If you feel like, oh, I can't be trusted. Okay, that's why you need help. If you can't trust yourself, that's why I encourage you, come to courses, come to trainings, come to seminars. Get that trust built up in yourself. You know, sometimes you don't have the strength or the fortitude to do it yourself. And so you go to the trainings, you listen to recordings, you keep learning. That's going to help you. It's going to help you to build up to that point where you can make and keep commitments to yourself. Okay, so the second one is others. You want to make and keep commitments to others, a coach, a mentor. Tell somebody else what you're planning to do. And then you're more committed to it than if you just do it yourself. You see, and this is why addiction recovery groups work. In addiction recovery groups, people go around and have their say. They say, hi, my name's this. I've been sober for 2 weeks. Okay, think about this, Alcoholics Anonymous. Now that has power in it. Why? Because 20 other person heard them say that. 20 other people. Now they're committed. Okay, they want to make it to 3 weeks. And they've got 20 people that know they've made it 2 weeks. And they made a commitment that they'd keep pushing and keep striving. There's power in the group dynamic. Now, what I've got in my course or program is a group dynamic. You've got that support of a group of people working together, helping each other to stay on track. And that's what we want. We want that group support. Who's up for group support? Who thinks that's a good idea? You're going to keep commitments more to others in a group than you will ever to yourself. It's really important to understand that. So you're making keep commitments to yourself, to others. And the last one, and depending on your spiritual beliefs, it could be God, the universe, or your higher self, whatever you believe God to be. I'm just going to put God there. So what we do, and if you go back into holy writings, you'll know that there's a thing called a covenant. Have you heard of a covenant before? So a covenant is a promise that a person makes not only to another person, but they make it before God, angels, and other witnesses. So the idea is it's a promise that's very, very strong. And that's what a covenant is. And so you make and keep commitments to yourself first. Then to others, you get support of a group, and then you can make and keep commitments to God. And that's a higher level. And what they do in a covenant, it's interesting. I saw a description once. I saw two men, and they're on a stage. And both of these men took out an imaginary knife and they cut their own hands. They cut their hand like this. And they were both standing beside a carcass of an animal. What they'd had is they had a cow each. And what they did was they cut the cow's throat and the cow bled out and fell to the ground. And then they cut their own hand. And then they walked around both cows in a like an infinity sign. They walked around the cows. And then they came back to the center and they grabbed hands. And they grabbed hands like this. And the blood from one and the blood from the other merged together. And they became, you would say, blood brothers. And basically what they said was, and it was a covenant, it was a deep promise. And they said, I promise, whatever thing it was, I promise that if I don't do this thing that I said I'll do, My fate will be the same as that animal, that dead carcass. That's going to be my fate if I don't keep my promise. And so that's what we call a covenant. Okay, it's a deep promise, a promise with God that you promise to do it. And if you don't, if you fail, then it's life or death. You get the idea. So that's how you build your self-worth. You make and keep commitments to yourself, to others, make and keep commitments to God. That's going to help you win. And that's part of the win formula. All right, is that interesting? Are you learning something? Is it good to know? So that's the W. I is identity. Every time you hear the words I am, it's an identity statement. Okay, so I am is an identity statement. When you use those words in front of something, like I am joy, I am love, I'm compassion, I'm intelligence, I'm faith and courage, I'm happiness, I'm achievement, I'm success, I'm gratitude, I'm honesty, and I'm respectful of others, especially the women in my world. Those are my personal identity statements. I'll say them again. I, Josh, see, hear, feel, and know that I am joy, I am love, I am compassion, I'm intelligence, I'm faith and courage, I'm happiness, I'm achievement, I'm success, I'm gratitude, I'm honesty, and I'm respectful of others, especially the women in this world. So those are my personal identity statements. And I use those as an incantation to install them into my nervous system. So that's an identity statement. Next thing is we never give up. So the idea, and I love the fact that Mark, Rhonda, Som, there's others of you here, Des, who love personal development. If you love personal development, this is a testament to how powerful it is, because you realize that you need to keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding. That as the information comes in, you take it on, you absorb it, and that's going to help you. Realize that what you're doing is perfect. You just keep going. A lot of people say, but I'm not changing. It's not working. Just keep going. Just persist. What's going to happen is the information is going to move from your mind and it's going to trickle down into your heart. And once it moves from your heart to your nervous system, then the shift happens. The transformation occurs. So keep filling your mind with truth so you can fill your heart with love, so you can fill your life with service. And that's the 3-step process of all success. All right, so never give up. Never give up. You find yourself feeling flat, get to another seminar. You find yourself slipping back into old behaviors, go to another seminar, go to another course, go to another training, get some more information, read a good book. Make sure you're continually persisting with the change process. It doesn't happen overnight. It does require work and persistence. So I would say never give up. The change will occur. And the changes, when they really happen, they'll happen in the nervous system, and it's going to be amazing. It'll be incredible. I love it when it happens. It's life altering. So that's the win formula. So what we've got here is consistently eating well, not just exercise. Crabs in the bucket. One of the crabs escaped. And as the father watched this crab scamper off, he thought to himself, you know what? That crab never gave up. It got pulled down 5 to 10 times. It just kept persisting. If you keep persisting, you will get results. And this woman, unfortunately, she passed away. But her story is a lesson. It's a lesson for you and I. Don't give up. She gave up. The bottle got her in the end. She gave up. She thought it's not worth it. There's nothing I can do. I'm hopeless. I'm out of control. There's no point. And she kept drinking. She didn't change. She refused to learn. She refused to grow. So I would say to you, just keep going. Just keep turning up to classes, courses, seminars. Keep reading the books. Keep listening to webinars. Keep listening to podcasts if that's your thing. Keep learning. Keep growing. And you will find that over time, some of those problems that you've got today will lessen and their grip on you will be loosened, and eventually it'll be done and you will transform. And the fastest transformation takes place in the nervous system. Once the nervous system changes, you change, and you can change permanently. It's really exciting. All right, does that make sense? So take Carla, for example. Carla, we did a process with Carla called the voice of authority. And she said that this inner critic turned into her greatest cheerleader. Pam, we did some process with Pam, and I did one-on-one coaching with Pam over a period of time. At age 65, she finally forgave her dad. Her dad had already passed away. She finally forgave him. She rang me up excited. Isn't that great? That she was able to forgive him during mortality, during her earthly sojourn. So if you found a key, let me ask you this. If you found a key that could unlock your happiness and excitement in your life, would you want that key today? Would you want it today? Yes or yes? If you found a key that can unlock your happiness, would you want that key today? There's a program that I run. Now, I want you to know that this program it's not for everyone, but some of you will want to go further with your education. Who's enjoyed today? Did you get a lot of good information out of this session thus far? Who's learned a lot of good stuff? As you can tell, I don't hold back. I give as much information as I can in the short amount of time allotted in these free introductory sessions. If you would like to go deeper, if you would like to go further, if you would like to learn more and grow more and change more, then just drop a yes in the comments. If you'd like to learn about the program that I run, if that's of interest to you, just let me know. More info, excellent. All right, too easy. So what I'll do is I will share that. All right, so what you can see here is unlock your incredible self. This is a 6-hour webinar. So think about what we did in 1 hour today. In 1 hour, we were able to make some changes. These changes were, I'm sure they're going to be great. Think of what you can do in 6 hours. In 6 hours, you're going to get more content about what I've discussed here. Think of today as like an introductory session. The 6-hour course is going to flesh in all those parts that you may not have been sure of, needed more detail on. And actually, we're going to have an opportunity to do the work. So we're going to practice getting excited. I'm going to show you my excitement exercise. I'm going to get it into your nervous system so that you get to feel it as well and experience it. So what we've got is on the 12th of June, 2025, 2025, Australian Eastern Standard Time, we're doing a course or a program. All right, so what you're going to get, you're going to get access to a 6-hour webinar. The value is $797 for that. Nina could not believe it. She was absolutely gobsmacked. She had pain in these lumps on her legs. I showed her a technique. I had this tool for getting rid of pain. And so I showed her the tool, did the technique with her, and she touched her leg and all the pain was gone. She was like, whoa, what just happened? It's incredible. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing that she had pain for 3 years and it was gone in an instant. And that's through nervous system reprogramming. I used a tool, used a technique, and it worked. I was totally blown away too. I was like really excited about it because it works. So what you're going to get is you're going to get access to a 6-hour live webinar where you get me in person speaking to you, teaching, and you're also going to get a goal setting workshop recording, and that's about $197. So anybody who maybe if you don't have goals set, or maybe you do have goals and you want to solidify them goals, then this process will help you do that. So there's a goal setting workshop and a goal setting meditation where you can actually create goals that actually work using a process called strategic visioning. So if you'd like that, then you're going to get both those things. Now, the total value for all of that is $994. Now, have a think about that. If you could stop self-sabotaging and start achieving your goals more often, would that be worth $1,000 to do that? To just overcome that problem? Now, you might have to go to work for a couple of days. Is that worth $1,000 to change the trajectory of your life? To change your life into an upwards, onwards trajectory. So David said this. David came along to the course and he was able to move his monthly billings in his business from 40,000 to 140,000. Now, I know I'm not talking about money making today. I'm not talking about economics. David took the nervous system programming tools that I shared and applied them to wealth creation. That's what he chose. He said, I'm going to do it for wealth. Other people choose relationships. Other people choose health. David did it for his wealth. And he was able to triple. Yes, I said that correctly. He was able to triple his monthly billings and improve his income out of sight. And so he went from 40,000 to 140,000, and he received an excellence award in 2024 in where he lives in Sydney, Australia. And just amazing. So what you're going to get is you're going to get a 6-hour live webinar. You're going to get a goal setting workshop, and the total value of all of it, $994. I'm not going to charge you that today. Carla is a fraud expert. She works for a bank and she goes after people who do fraud. And when I first told her about the program, she decided to sign up, and she thought, oh my goodness, he's just going to take my money and run. Because I live in Australia. She lives all the way over in America. Anyway, she decided to go ahead and invest in the program. She invested in it. And Carla said that when she went through the process called the gift, she said tears were streaming down her face. And as the tears streamed down her face, she said she finally forgave her ex-partner. She'd had a lot of resentment, animosity, and she said she was filled with agape love. Just wonderful, and created that change for her. So here's what I'm going to do today is, instead of $9.97, if you decide to go ahead today, it's $39. That's it. That's for a 6-hour training, 6 hours of life-changing, life-altering material. It's $1,000 worth of value, $994 value. Click on that link that I just put in the chat and head in and pay for that course. Do it right now. So what you need to do right now is jump on, go ahead and pay for that course, pay for that program. That's all you need to do right now, is pay for that. So that's what you need to do right now. Not 5 minutes, 10, do it right now. Go ahead, pay for that course and commit yourself. Remember the make and keep commitments? You're going to make and keep a commitment to yourself by going to the course. Go to the course, sign up, and say, you know what? I'm sick of self-sabotaging. I'm sick of giving up on myself. I'm sick of falling back into old patterns of behavior. And go ahead and invest. Just invest in yourself, do the course, sign up to the program. Let's get you 6 hours of training and programming, reprogramming your brain, upgrading your operating system, the operating system like unto a computer's operating system. We want to upgrade that during a session, during a seminar, so that you can start getting better results in your life. I'm going to give you a free gift now. So thanks everyone for being here for this, because there is a gift I want to give you. And what you'll get here in this gift is these are the exact incantations that I shared. Now, some of you may want to go into the actual training. You want to go into the communication course, the money wealth creation course, and also the memory course. It's a 2-day seminar coming up, and there's also information of that course in that link as well. So if you'd like to sign up to that, you can do that. That's valued at over $4,000, and at the moment it's a $400 offer. So if you click on that, you can actually purchase that for $400. So there's the 6-hour seminar. That's a $49 program. There's the other one, which is a 2-day course, and you can sign up to that one if you wish. So there's a couple of courses there. So all you need to do right now is jump in, sign up, send that money. You can sign up either through that link to you could say it's a 3-month program, or to the other link, which will give you a 6-hour course. So sign up, jump in, and do that now. All right, so I had 2 choices. When I'm preparing my content and getting ready to deliver it, I had 2 choices. What are my choices? Well, the first choice is to make this a free seminar. Just give it to you for free. And I did with this one. This is a free introductory one. I'm talking about the 6-hour course. I could give that to you for free, and I could get AI to do the work. That would mean that I'd probably record the session, because there is a big investment, 6 hours long, preparation, then delivery, then afterwards I've got to edit videos and do all that. So there's a lot of work involved. So if I did it for free, I would give a recorded session just to make it a bit easier on myself. However, I'm giving it to you live, which means that it's going to be a premium training and learning experience and environment for you. It's a saturation environment for 6 hours. And so if you're someone who loves interactive, if you love me being able to look and answer your questions, if you love having conversations with the host, then sign up for the actual course because you'll get more out of it by paying a few dollars and you'll get that interactive and live coaching experience. So now you have two choices. What are they? First choice is do nothing. Keep living a life you've lived up till now. No change, no new growth, no creation. Or your second choice is sign up and unlock your incredible self. Create a new empowering story in life. Unlock the best parts of you. So that's the choice. You've got a choice to sign up and to create change. Now, there is a 30-day guarantee. If you sign up today and decide 2 days' time, I don't want it, it's not working for me, I don't really gel so much with the host, whatever the case, contact me, let me know, and I'll refund you. No worries. Yeah, thanks, Rhonda. Wonderful. Is there a rundown on what you do? Yeah, so there's a rundown on what I do. If you look at that link, you'll go through and see what it is that I do. The rundown on what I do, though, is really so fundamentally, the rundown on what I do is NSR. I'm interested in nervous system reprogramming. I'm not interested in simply talking through change. I'm interested in creating new neural pathways. Now, sometimes we can do that through conversation and we can use these tools conversationally, but I'm not interested in just having conversations. I'm interested in nervous system reprogramming. Now, that can start with new neurological connections being created in the mind, creating new synapses in the brain. That's one way to do it. But better is to get it into your body and nervous system. And in Unlock Your Incredible Self, I show you how to do that. In fact, we do it into your nervous system. And I explain exactly what's happening, why you're feeling the way you feel, why you're experiencing what you're experiencing, and what also you're going to experience while you sleep that night. So it's not just during the seminar, it's the night after the seminar that changes will continue to occur. So I basically install information to then create change while you sleep. The foundation of everything that I teach, the foundation is empowerment. So everything is about empowerment, empowering yourself, your mind, your life, empowering your relationships, empowering your health, empowering your career, empowering your life. So it's all about empowerment. That's everything I do. So if that's of interest, then jump in, sign up, see what you can do.